UK, and we love bringing them to you. So if you're an experienced sewer or you're just starting out in soft crafts and sewing, join us. There's tips and fabrics for everybody. Make sure you don't miss our shows and come and craft yourself silly on Hochanda.
Hi, I'm Pat
and Mark
from Totally Patched. We're a family-based business here in Shropshire. We've been established for about 20 years.
All of our kits come pre-cut, meaning all the fabric is cut for the actual people who want to make the items, whether they be cushions, bags, quilts or anything else you want to cast your creative memory or mind into.
Most of the kits we produce we design ourselves. The design process is usually inspired by the fabric itself. We only use great quality fabrics, 100% cottons.
So, whether you're a beginner or an experienced sewer or quilter, we hope we've got something for all of you.
Make sure you come and watch us on Hochanda.
Hi, I'm Andy from Picture This. I've been a painter all my life. Picture This was actually formed on the back of a throwaway remark from one of my art students. This has developed my drawings into a series of photopolymer stamps, clear stamps for the crafting community and the crafting industry. The stamps are all hand-drawn by me, they're made in the UK, most important was of Picture This, and we have so much more to bring you. Our shows on Hochanda, we hope to make them informative, amusing obviously, entertaining, but mainly it's about bringing the creative spirit to you. Make sure you tune in and watch the Picture This shows on Hochanda.
Good morning and welcome to a brand new day here at Hochanda. It's really good to have your company, and I hope we do have your company throughout the day because we've got lots planned for you. Saturday is always a fabulous day here because we have little slots like our jewellery box slot coming up a little bit later on, but of course we have had a little bit of a change around with regards to our schedule. So 7 o'clock we bring you obviously a live show because it's the first live show of the day, and it can vary. Sometimes it's a happy hour deal, sometimes it is a case of that, basically we've got a regular show and that's what we've got during this hour. Something I will mention to you as well, I'm going to be with you for the next 4 hours. The second of my live hours this morning is going to be with a one-day special. It's brand new slot at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock are the kind of the live shows with the one-day special. They've all kind of shifted slightly, but 6 o'clock is still our traditional launch. Now you do have from 6 o'clock in the evening right the way down to the following day to place your orders for the one-day special, but more about that at 8 o'clock. Now tonight we've got Derek. It will be here, lovely Derek. He's going to be launching a brand new Spellbinders at a one-day special with a lovely Nikki. Now, when we say with our guests at the moment, obviously as you're aware, we've kind of changed our little kind of layout a bit here. So I'm here with a fabulous Phil Martin show, Sentimentally Yours. But sadly, we haven't got the man himself with us, but we will have him bringing some fabulous demonstrations to the power of video. And you never know, might even speak to him. Mind you, it's a bit early in the morning, so potentially not, but maybe later on in the day. Anyway, I digress. One thing I would say to you at the moment is jump ahead and have a little look on the website because many of the bundles we are sharing with you, it's the first time that we've ever seen them in these configurations. So you may have seen the dies and the stamps before, but it might have been out of your reach financially wise. Well, now we've got smaller bundles, maybe more affordable bundles, but of course they're brilliant quality nonetheless, as they always have been. So shall I show you what we've got to start with? check these out. We've got lots of pairings for you during this hour, and we're looking at your elegant flowers here, and these are beautiful flowers. First thing that strikes me with these, you've got such a large open area. The largest die there you can see 68 millimetres, kind of square, because obviously it's a symmetrical flower, but you've got multiple dies within here, which means of course you can actually cut out many at the same time if you're layering up correctly on your plate. But the beauty is that they work alongside the beautiful stamp that comes with it. Now, with all of the stamps, you've got lots of detail, little kind of flecks, little speckles, and of course they will help you with your shading if you want to add colour, maybe your watercolour pencils, things like that. But of course they are actual elements within there. Let me turn that stamp around and you'll be able to see. With your clear stamp, they are little tiny marks in there. Now, each one of those will obviously put ink down on your card. Could be if you're using a clear kind of powder, not powder, clear ink pad, that you are actually adding a little bit of colour. We've got some very fine detail embossing powders coming up as well, but it's what you do with them which is the key thing. And this is the beauty, because you can make them as little or as large as you want into, as full, as kind of complex as you want, because of course it gives you choices. Got those open petals, so instantly they're going to show off the colour cardstock that you're using, and of course here beautiful signature blue with these. Love this because if you're wanting to show off that gorgeous kind of colour, why not add a little bit of sparkle to it using some glitters, and you can see there. Now the papers being used here do come from some of those sets, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, your polka dots and pinstripes. Beauty is, when you're cutting out your dies, what you will actually do is have your fall away, won't you? You'll have the cardstock that you use and have some little apertures, as you can see. What a lovely idea this is. Again, it's something that's a simplistic design, but what an effective result that you're going to get with these. Really pretty. You can imagine that with your glitter cardstock, different things like that. There's loads that you could do with these. Or maybe incorporate your papers. Simple papers, just white papers, added a little bit of detail, because as I say, all the fine detail from that stamp will come through on each and every one of those petals, which of course you can enhance if you're wanting to. And again, if you are wanting to take a coloured cardstock and maybe a white powder, then there you go. That's the kind of result you can get. It almost looks like it's hand drawn on there, isn't it? Beautiful. Again, the mediums that you're using, what about using some of your vellums? Your vellums will give you kind of the stability with these. They almost look like little water lilies, don't they, when you actually look at them like those? Beautiful. There you go. Now, within this particular set, you're going to get 10 dies and you're going to get 16 of your stamps, as you can see there. Just £36.48 if you're wanting these. I know lots of you are watching us via Facebook, because we are broadcasting live via Facebook, so it's really good to have your company again this morning. And I'm sure many of the usual suspects watching that way. Do keep in touch. Now, we've got another set. Now, originally, I think these might have been a weekend wow, where we had all of these pairings coming together. As I say, it would have been quite a large bundle, but here they have been split down. We're looking at the sweetheart flower, and you can see why it's called that, can't you? Those gorgeous little heart-shaped petals there, just giving that kind of little insight, that little feeling of love, as you can see with these. Now, again, you've got your stamps, you've got your dies, so 10 dies, 12 stamps, and again, they work in a very similar scenario to how we spoke, but just a different look with the petals. And I think whether you notice the heart or whether you don't, I just think it gives those petals a little bit of interest. That little kind of notch in the middle there means that you can play around with them, either fold those petals backwards, as you can see with this, or bring them forwards. I love this, how the backgrounds, again from the papers that we've got on the show, have been kind of used as an inspiration for the colour that's been applied to the petals. Incidentally, we have got some set 2 of the fabulous pens that Phil brings to us as well. And pop those up at the bottom of the screen now. Oh, it's like we were attuned, myself and our lovely Kim, who's producing today. Look at this. Oh my goodness, wow. Isn't that beautiful? On vellum you can see there. But again, those flowers can be as large as you want them to be, or as small as you want, as full. It's entirely up to you. This is what it's all about. Absolutely beautiful, as you can see, whichever way you are working with these. 212-796 if you're wanting to get hold of this set, then the details are there on your screen. Again, similar scenario, stamps and dies that work beautifully together. Got another set to share with you as well. Now, these are your romantique, and they're beautiful. Again, every single one of these, more of a rounded petal with this one, so it reminds me a little bit of a, is it a peony or something like that, or forget-me-not? They've got quite rounded flowers. Oh, I didn't notice those. Like a little decollage to the petals there. That is a pretty idea. That is nice. That's echoed within the stamps as well. So it really does enhance that design as you work with them. What a lovely idea. Very pretty. Again, lots of those speckles going into the concentration of the centre of the flower. But what it does is it helps you when you're adding your own colour. You can see the pens being used here. Concentration of the colour in the centre of the flowers, an almost ombre effect going from that purple through to the pink on the outside. And of course the pink ones that you've got here going out to a lighter tone. What about adding colour to your vellums though? Have a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And there's not a huge amount of curvature to those petals. They've been kept relatively flat, but isn't that effective? Really does show off those petals to I mean, they're most there. Now, if I was to bring this card in and you were to have those, you would quite be forgiven for thinking you've got two different stamp and die sets being used there. They do look quite different, don't they? But they're not. They're exactly the same. Wow, who'd have thought that, eh? Amazing. And again, the colour tone can make such a difference. I mean, look at this. They look like little forget-me-nots there. Beautiful little flowers. And again, quite a contemporary look with these. I like the size of the petal on these because I think if you've got inky mop-ups, backgrounds that you've created, and you want to actually turn those backgrounds into kind of petals of flowers, then this is a perfect one for you to do. Exactly that. Absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, you can use the dies just by themselves, as you can see there, or maybe incorporate the stamps if you do want to add a little bit more detail to those petals. And again, play around with these. Have fun with them. Experiment. You are going to get some wonderful results. Look at that metallic touch there on those petals. Beautiful. £36.48. If you fancy getting hold of the duo again, you are looking at 15 stamps. You're looking at 10 dies with these. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, they work gorgeously, as you can see there with any of those sentiments that you have got from your collection from Phil already. 901739. Now, fancy something a little bit more pointed with your petals, then here you go. Incidentally, any of these, if you want to mix up the petals between the flowers, you can do that because they are very similar in size. So it might be that you're wanting to look at putting these in the centre, maybe to look like, is it the calyx of a flower, the centre part of the flower? But you'll see the largest ones again with these are 68mm, which you will have noticed from the other sets as well. So you can kind of make your own almost fantasy little flowers with regards to these. Again, kind of a star look with these, I think. More of a blossom look potentially. I don't know. Maybe you could actually cut these round and pull those petals down to make them turn into little fuchsias and things like that. Have an experiment with them. I assure you'll get some absolutely amazing results. Now look at these. This is beautiful. Using your different layers of your cardstock there. Using some of those polka dots at the front. Bringing it all together. Absolutely beautiful. I love that, how the see, we often say, don't we, stripes and stops. I nearly said stops, which is stops is a mixture of your spots and your stripes. But it's usually they say, don't put your stripes with your spots. But they work, don't they? When you've got that kind of colour, connecting the two together. Now, this is nice. Look at that. Wow. Power of colour going on there. Very effective. Beautiful, but again, more of a subdued look. And I love the shape of these petals. Very pretty. £36.48, 397894. Each one of those sets, I think it's brilliant the way that you can actually get hold of these. Don't forget, if you're going for a couple of sets, because your basket will go through the £60 threshold, you can turn it into a flexi order and get them at the same time, or potentially go for one of the sets of stamps and dies and add in the pens, because the pens are going to add so much colour. Now, this is the second set that we've had of pens from Sentimentally Yours and obviously Phil. They're beautiful. Look at the tips on these. Wow. That is a lovely brush nib, as you can see there. Taking that colour to the top of that tip there, giving you an incredible amount of control with those. Of course, if you press down on them, then you'll get more of a flood of colour with those, but you will be able to obviously use them to the tiniest detail. You're also going to get 2 water brushes within these sets as well. Gorgeous colours. Should we have a little play? Which colour should we go for? Can I pull these down? Let's have a little look. I'm instantly going to go for one of those pinks because they look absolutely beautiful. Pull them out. Now, of course, each and every one of them is going to sit beautifully in the case. The bottom, you have got your water brush pens. We have got additional pens are available for you, but of course these mean you can add water, flood out the colour if you're wanting to really pull them out. But you've got an intensity of colour with these, if I remember rightly. So, the brush nib with these, obviously you can use them, just the tiniest of tips, just to add little tiny dots to anything that you're wanting to work with, so you've got complete control with regards to putting those down. But you can see with the actual brush there, it's not a harsh nib, so when you're actually using it, you can actually use it to create a shape. It's almost like making a little petal with the pen itself. There you go. I'm sorry, I should have moved the card around, but there you go. Just take them into the centre there. Of course, it will give you a wash of colour as well, so if you do want to colour an area, you can do. And as I say, if you have got water within your water brush, you can actually take out that colour as well. But what a lovely, lovely colour. I like that. It's almost like a berry tone, that one. Very pretty. I like that. Lightest touch, and you can see you can pull that colour out. And I'm hardly making any contact with the paper there, but you can see there's a good flood of colour coming out from those. Absolutely beautiful. Like the coverage with those, nice. Not used those before, so I'm very impressed with them. Do like those now. Of course, they come in a case, which makes them even better because they look fabulous. And it means that you know if any are missing. Now, £29.99 will get you all of those. So you could be adding those in alongside any of those sets that we've spoken of. For example, the Enchanted Flower at the bottom of your screen. Your order will go through that £60 threshold and you can spread the cost over 2 payments. Do like that, right there, nice set. Now I mentioned about the water brush pens that come within the kit. We have got some water brush pens that come in a little set, as you can see here. Now these are lovely because when you actually open these up, you will have different styles of brush nibs with these. Now you're getting a small nib, a medium nib and a large nib. So let's have a little look at this particular set here. So if I take the caps off, you'll be able to see, whoops, the daisy. There you go. So you've got your different sizes with regards to those. Again, similar sort of idea where you've got that brush nib. So of course you have got the flexibility with regards to these as to making the kind of the area that you're wanting to cover. These ones are a little flatter. So when we actually take the caps off these ones, you'll see that these are if you're wanting to do it more like your washers. Now apparently this particular one, I must admit that I agree with this one. You don't often see these ones. I mean, that's a really good size. Really good size. You are going to get all 6 of those, 2 separate packs as I showed you there. Your round brush nibs, you have also got your flatter brush there as well. Complete control and fabulous selection there. You can put whatever colour you like in there if you want to, or just put water in there if you're wanting to lift out the colour. £16.98 if you're wanting to get hold of those. We have got them obviously all together in a bundle there. Brilliant value for money. Do suggest you pop those ones into your basket. 523671. Now, I was talking about the fine detail of the stamps we were just looking at with those little tiny flecks in there. They are minuscule, some of those flecks, which means you do need to make sure that you've got the right embossing powder to cope with that fine detail. If you've got something that's too chunky, too bulky, then you lose all that definition. And at the end of the day, that's the definition that really does make that design something special. Now here you've got sets of 2. So, oh no, it's set 2, I do apologise. Set 2 is the set at the top here. So these are your gorgeous soft lavender. Confused me for a moment. We've got set 1 and set 2. This is set 2. Now you've got your soft aqua, your soft cornflower, your soft lavender within here as well. And they are beautiful. And twinkling is the key thing with these ones. We saw some of these featuring on some of those cards a few moments ago. Now with regards to these, they are anti-static, so you will find, there you go, let me show you that lid. Well, anti-static means that it's not going to be captured. Obviously you've got a couple of little elements within there, but you can see that it stays within the pot. Now don't be tempted to decant this and put it into another pot, because of course these little pots have been treated to give them that anti-static nature. So as soon as you pop it into something else, then sadly you are taking that away. But you can see that you're sparkling soft lavender, gorgeous colour. You've got that beautiful cornflower. Look at these. They work so well together. And then the final one that you've got there is that soft aqua. So cornflowers have got like a blue tone to them, haven't they, I believe? I don't think I've actually seen one in the flesh, but I've heard of them. £14.97, pretty much works out as a £5 a pot. Lots within there. You use the tiniest amounts with those. So a really good value bundle. So if you fancy popping set 2 into your basket, then please do. So let's mix things up. We're going to go down to the front where we've got set number 1. Now on this particular set, you've got your soft peridot, your soft rosé, and your gorgeous azure. Well, I say rosé. No, I think it's rose. We've just got a little mark on the packaging. I thought it was an accent. It could be rosé. Rosé. Lie those down so you can have a look at those gorgeous colours in the bases there. A lovely popular set, this particular one. I mean, the colour tones from those absolutely gorgeous. The softest green with that peridot, that beautiful. The soft rosé, it's almost got a peachy hue to it. Do you like that one? And that soft azure. Now, you are loving these embossing powders. 20% of the stock has gone of each one of those, so they are popular. And I think lots of you might be going for both of those sets. Again, add those 2 sets of embossing powders in with any of those set sets of dies and stamps, then again your order is going through that £60 threshold. So make sure that you get hold of those, because you do need that fine definition of detail, and you do need that little bit twinkle, don't we? Definitely need twinkle when you're looking at a Sentimentally Yours card. Talking of card, oh, that's something that is very, very key to Phil with his designs. That's why he has had an amazing range of papers to complement those colours that we've been looking at there. And this is something that he's very astute with. So the colours that you can see here are going to work with the solid colours that he brings to us. They're going to work with the regular embossing powder, the fine detail, almost solid colours. They're also going to work with those beautiful twinkles that we just saw a few moments ago. Now with these, you've got a brilliant range here. You've got so many papers. There's loads. As you can see there, the little tiny dots there, you're getting the stripes. It's not a choice of, you are getting all 80 of these sheets. They're brilliant quality, absolutely gorgeous. And I love how you've got your positive and your negative with the polka dots there. Little bit of these goes a long way. So as you say, popping those dies down on there, you can create some beautiful cards. And when you see them come together, I mean, the card that we've got here is mixing the two together. Perhaps not colours that you'd automatically go for when you're working together, but they lend themselves so well, don't they? You've got those gorgeous kind of, it's almost like a buttermilk tone there that you've got down the side there. And then you've got down the side here, you have got that gorgeous blue. Now with some of these, they have got an ombre look to them when you're actually working with them. So the polka dots, especially when we look on the screen, you'll see from one side you've kind of got a saturation of colour going through to the other. But when you kind of pick out a certain area, you can see how you've got the concentration of the colour there. Absolutely beautiful. And a little, again, it just goes such a long way with regards to these. Oh, got it on the inside as well. Let me open that up as well. Look at that. That's a nice fresh look to it, isn't it? Beautiful. It reminds me of crisp white cotton there. £19.78. Both packs of those come into you. Brilliant quality, and definitely one to go for. And if you fancy treating yourself to a couple of sets, go for it. We don't limit any of these items to one per customer, and if you're a Freedom member, £19.78. You could well want to add those in. 658 435 if you're wanting to get hold of those. Now, of course, I've taken you through all the fabulous products that Phil has put together for this show. As I say, he can't be here in person because he is here in spirit, and we've got a fabulous demonstration from him now. Check this out.
Hi everyone, on to demo number 3, and obviously this is a slightly different way of working with the twinkling embossing powders as well. So I wanted to try and show you all the different ways you can use the twinkling embossing powders with the flower dies, and how the whole collection comes together. So you can see here I've already die cut and stuck some of these layers, not all of them, but I've used the rounded corner double debossed squares to create the base there, and to create the frame, and to create this part here that I've actually stuck on already, but I'm going to show you how I did that. And then I've obviously used the classic sentiment coins again to create this little sentiment topper, using these circle dies. So I'm going to show you how I did all that. So the flower that I've used for this card is the Romantique, and I'm not choosing favourites, but I absolutely love the Romantique flower because of I think the roundness of the petals. There's so many different ways you can shape this, and I've used the soft rose. Let me see if I can show you that without the light blaring too much. No, I can't get to show you that. Is that any better? Can you see? No, there we go. I'll try and show you anyway. I've used the soft rose twinkling embossing powder. So just the same with all the sets of stamps and dies that you've got on the show. You've got the 10 dies and you've got the set of stamps that coordinate with it. The Romantique has 15 stamps in it and 10 dies. What you might not have seen, I'll just see if I can bring that closer, is the Romantique actually has a really tiny serrated edge on the edge of the flower petals. You do lose it when you get down to the smaller sizes, but on the bigger ones you've got that gorgeous little frilly edge, which is just another little extra touch. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how I did that first. So you've just seen me already use perfect medium with the twinkling embossing powders onto vellum. On demo number 2 I use the twinkling embossing powders on top of the smoky grey VersaFine. This time we're going to use them on top of Victorian Velvet Distress Oxide, which is one of my all-time favourites. So when you use that with the soft rose twinkling embossing powder, what you get is a lovely deep shade. I can't really get to show you that. You get a lovely deep shade of the kind of Victorian rose colour, but you get the twinkling from the embossing powders. So it's slightly different to how I've shown you before. I'll do it again and show you how that works. So the same with all the flower stamps. If you put them back onto the carrier sheet once you've done with them, you can see which ones are missing, and then just keep them in a little tub. You're not going to lose any, because I know that when I'm stamping full sheets at a time, I tend to use the whole lot on one acrylic block or on a stamping platform, and stamp, but when you start tidying and putting things away, that's when you misplace the small ones. So we're going to go quite heavily with the, in fact I'm going to do it the naughty way. I'm going from above, look, and I'm just going to pat that in quite heavily. I'm using the almond hue cardstock, which is on the show. It comes in the essential pack with the pure white. Now this is Colourplan cardstock. I know you've probably heard me say that a lot of times, but Colourplan is the best quality that I can get for you. In fact, it's the best quality cardstock I've ever used. So I'm just going to stamp in this corner. I've got my non-slip heat resistant mat there as always, and that is a beautiful colour before we even add the twinkling embossing powder. So just bear in mind that when you're using cardstock with this rather than vellum or parchment, the ink will dry quicker because it will absorb a little bit faster. So just try and work a little bit quicker. There we go, just take that excess off. And now that gorgeous, I mean, look how much you get in these pots, and I've been using this since January. There we go, put that back in, waste not, want not. As with all the colours of mine of the twinkling embossing powders, you do have the 10% of silver in there, so you get that extra little bit of sparkle. So oh, there we go, you can see that sparkling now. So you can see that the embossing powder is stuck to the ink, the distress oxide, quite nicely. We'll heat that from above. Don't really need to worry about heating from underneath because the detail is already in the stamp. If it was a sentiment, I would always heat from underneath, you know, but this will be fine. You will see this go a little touch darker, so you know that it's melted. Little bit of advice, don't overheat the twinkling embossing powders because it can make them a little bit scorched and look a little bit dull. You'll know that it's changed because it'll go a little touch darker, look, did you see that? And it will start to sparkle a little bit more than it did before you melted the powder. That's just so pretty. There we go. And I'll bring that up to show you that we've got all that. There we go. So you can see the sparkling there. You can actually still see that the twinkling embossing powder has stuck even to the tiny dots that are part of that romantic flower stamp, which I think personally is amazing. I'm just going to show you how easy that is to line up if you get the right flower size die. That's the advantage of having all these dies. So you just use a little bit of removable tape. Now depending on which machine you use and which way around you die cut would depend on whether I put one piece of tape on or two. If I'm die cutting face down, I will just put one piece on. If I'm die cutting face up, I would put two on, just to make sure that it's secured in place. I'm not going to die cut this, but I'm going to see if I can get you to see just how much of this is showing. Let me just hold that in place, and I'm going to lift that up. So all you're going to see, there we go. You can see a tiny bit of the ripple, the scalloped edge of the flower shown. Look at this one, not that one. Yeah, because that one's kinking up, and that's what you need to do. Really easy to line up. You can also use the middle part of the die. So the middle part of the die is like an extra guide I put in there when I designed them. So you can see if that's symmetrical within that circle of the middle of the flower stamp, you know that you've got that in the right place. Now I'm not going to die cut that because I've got all my flowers done already. So I'll put that to one side. What I am going to show you is how to repeat that process but with a rubber stamp. So the rubber stamps that are on the show are three of my all-time favourites. You've got the Cracked Broken Lattice, which is this one. You've got the Star Swoosh, which is amazing when you do it with the twinkly embossing powders because it looks really grungy, but then when you've got the sparkle from the twinkly embossing powders it looks really pretty. and then you have the distressed page, which is the one I actually used on the original. I'll bring that in to show you in a second. So that actually is like a journal page that's got inky splats and some script in there. Now traditionally you wouldn't think that you could emboss something like that in a glittery embossing powder, but look how fab that looks. It's picked up all the intricate detail, which I just think that's fabulous, because it's difficult, as I mentioned, with a glittery embossing powder. So I'm just going to show you, because you've just seen the distressed page, I'm going to show you the cracks, broken lattice. You do get all three as part of the set, so you don't need to worry. Again, I'm going to go in with the Victorian Velvet Distress Oxide. I had to think which colour it was then. And I've been quite heavy with it. As you know, that these are all pre-mounted and already cut for your rubber stamps, so you can just work with these as soon as you get them. I'm not going to worry about this being too neat. All I really wanted to show you was the option is there that you can do this with a rubber stamp as well as a clear one. Pop the lid on. I'm going to turn that to its side. I find it easier to stamp sideways on. And we'll just pop that in there. And again, we're stamping onto the almond hue cardstock. The soft rose embossing powder is really pretty with the almond hue cardstock, and it just makes it a little bit warmer than using pure white all the time. There we go. Oh, that's fabulous. So let's just get the, if I can find it, the sheet of paper for patching my embossing powder. It's a good job I'm at home, and I can just get another sheet of paper, because I don't know where I'll put that on. There we go. And again, I'm just going to say again, you just wouldn't expect to be able to put a glittery embossing powder on top of this. So I'll just do the bottom half, turn it round, and do the top half. So the card that I'm making now, you would be able to replicate with all three of these rubber stamps, and you could use all 6 of the twinkling embossing powders and get a different look each time. As always, keep your embossing powders in the pot just to retain some of that anti-static property that comes built in. And I'll just heat this one from above. I'll get my long tweezers for this one. Just hold that in place. Put that in the middle so you can see what I'm doing. You might be able to see this better actually as it melts and it goes a little bit darker. I'll start at the bottom and work my way up. It amazes me that this kind of detail can be made glittery, sparkly from the embossing powder.
Beautiful. Now we will be back with the second part of Phil's demo as the hour progresses, but I've just grabbed those background stamps just to share those with you. Good size stamps, these ones, and you can see the details are on your screen if you are wanting to go for these. They're A6 in size. You've got your trio there, and you're going to get all 3 of those. So you've got your star swoosh in there, you've got the cracked broken lattice, which is the one that we just saw Phil working with. Final one that you've got is your distressed page, and I do love all 3 of those. I mean, they're going to be brilliant to use with. Good sizes as well, but of course, as you know, many of our crafters don't use them in their entirety as they are. They might just use them as a little kind of dab, taking hold of them, just add in little detail as and when they need to, and a really beautiful effect with those. So £35.97. If you're wanting to get hold of those, the details are on your screen there, 120378. And of course, you saw Phil working with one of the sets of duos that we've got with regards to the stamps and dies. And we will have a little look at those as the hour progresses, kicking things off with the elegant flowers. Now, the elegant flowers, beautiful. It's kind of like a rounded petal, but a little kind of tweak at the end of there. Just that little detail. We're getting busy, folks. I think that demonstration just shows you just how versatile these are. Lovely, lovely, lovely elements that you're going to be able to work with over and over again. Now, the elegance flower, you've got your 10 dies, which you can see there, obviously, on your plate there. They're individual dies as well. So when they come to you, you can lay them down. You can specifically put them where you want them to go, or just cut them out of your white cardstock ready for you to add your colour at a later stage. days. You've got your largest die there, as you can see, which is kind of continual. It's the consistency across the whole of the range. So as I said, if you wanted to team up a variety of different flowers, they're not going to look out of place because they're going to be similarly sized. So the dies are that, obviously using your plain papers, perfect, or your pattern papers. But then what about adding detail? Well, you've got choices, because the dies work alongside the stamps, but with the stamps, some of them you've got the little kind of smatterings of kind of shading, as you can see with these. Some of them are plain. It's all about choices, and that's what Phil has brought to us. You've got 16 stamps to choose from within these, and they really are beautiful stamps to work alongside those dies. But of course, as you said there, if you want to use the dies just by themselves, you can do. Add a little smattering of glitter around the edges, and maybe if you're working with your vellums, adding your colour, perhaps using your pens that we've got on the show, then there you go. You can see the kind of results that you can get there. I think we've got a little bit there that needs to be tucked back there. There you go. There's a little bit of detail as well. And again, if you are wanting to use them with the stamps, don't forget, make sure you've got your fine detail embossing powder that Phil was working with. We have got on the show a little bit of twinkle in that one as well. So if you fancy these as a duo, then the details are there. £36.48, 498158 if you're wanting those. Those embossing powders that we saw Phil working with at the end of that first segment of his demonstration are detailed at the bottom. We've got set 1 and set 2. So if you wanted set 2, the details are there. Now, something else you might want to add into your basket here. Have a look at this. This is a fabulous bundle of vellum, and vellum is such a versatile medium to craft with, because of course if you have got the right pens to work with them, like the pens we've got in the show, you can change this to whatever colour you like. It starts off as white frost, which is beautiful, using it just as it is. Maybe adding a little bit of white embossing powder potentially. At £17.99, those 30 sheets really are going to go a long way when you're looking at these dies. So 790682 if you're wanting those. Now, another one that I do love is the way that this particular one has got the kind of little heart-shaped petals. I just think it's such an elegant, beautiful, kind of delicate look to those petals. So maybe giving them a feminine look. I don't know. You could decide with regards to these, but I think they just give them a different little look. And of course, many flowers that you see out in the garden will have that little dip in the centre of the petal as well. So you could be making these into, well, all sorts of different flowers, to be honest. They're beautiful when you are working with them, just the dies, just with the stamps, potentially adding a little bit more detail alongside. Love the way that the centre of those petals is where the concentration of shading is as well. It gives them a slightly different look, which I think when you actually see them on a card really does make those petals pop out. You can see here I've got a mixture of vellum being used, potentially the vellum we were looking at a few moments ago with the colour added to it. But have a look at the concentration. It almost looks like you've got an additional layer of the petal there, but you haven't. That's all part of the same layer there. So if you are creating and want to give the illusion of multiple layers, here it looks like you've got lots and lots of different petals that have been cut. But I think in realistic terms, I think it's only 2 flowers that have been cut there. One, and then obviously one twist probably about 45 degrees, and then off you go again. Beautiful. Polka dot papers coming in with that one as well. Work really well. 212796 if you want to know, £36.48. Now, these ones are pretty. These ones are your romantique ones, and these are beautiful. The ones that we saw being used a few moments ago, and they've got that kind of little decal edge to them, that little wiggle, which I think is lovely. It kind of gives them a bit of an organic feel, doesn't it? Beautiful. Again, you've got your dies. The dies will give you that definition when you're actually working with these, that little tiny decal edge, and then you are obviously going to get your stamps that work alongside with these. So you've got 10 dies in here, you've got 15 stamps, which of course means that you can cut out multiples as long as you position them correctly on your die cutting mat. And again, it's the results that you get with it. I mean, look. Aren't they beautiful? Love this, because when you're looking at this, you've got the much darker tones, but that background, do you recognise that background? That's one of those background stamps from that trio that Phil was working with a few moments ago. Isn't that lovely? In fact, this might want to come from there as well. I don't know, where you've got that kind of, or you could get this illusion. So that one's like the lattice. I think that one's actually a stamp. It's a circle stamp, isn't it? I was just having a little look. It is actually a circle stamp. I thought, first of all, when I saw that, I did think it was the set that we were just looking at, but it's not. We've actually got those. Should I show you those? We're going to show you those just as we get those ready to show you in the flesh. So, yeah, beautiful, beautiful set. Many of us have got circle dies in our collection, haven't we? So, yeah, we've got a couple of different sets with regards to those ones. So the first one where you've got that kind of little lattice, I've got those ones here. You've got 33 stamps. Wow, generous bundle. So there you go. You've got this particular set with the lattice that we've just looked at, and of course that was the card that I showed you a few moments ago featuring that. So there you go. You've got loads within there. Good size stamps as well. So they sit perfectly inside those circles. Don't forget, Phil does bring a series of circle dies to us. That was one set. That one is your Sentimental coin and medallion wrap set. I've got another set that's been handed in to me as well. These. Now these are nice as well. So a similar sort of idea, but this time you've got that little smattering there. They're called Arctic because you've got a little kind of smattering of speckles, which bear in mind, if you are working with the flowers and you've got that little smattering in there, then I think those would work well as well. A few little gears and cogs featuring with these as well. Borders you can be creating, I like those. £28.98 if you fancy those. 33 die and stamps again within the bundle, 270623. So why not add them in alongside any of those die and stamp sets now? I've got one more set of flowers to share with you, which are your enchanting ones, and they are beautiful. Again, I love these. They've got those kind of pulled out points to them, really pretty. I would love to have a go at these and actually cut them, but rather than actually leaving them flat or curving them out on themselves, bring them in towards the centre of that circle, almost turning them into a little fuchsia. Check out the fuchsia as it's kind of in the garden, and you'll know exactly what I mean with regards to it. Oh my goodness, I just noticed this one. Let me show you this. That is beautiful. Isn't that pretty? That is such a pretty way of working with those. And it's literally just a couple of those, just a little slight curvature to the petals there, just around an embossing tool or maybe, well, it could be anything, piercing tool, anything that's going to give it that little bit of curve. But isn't that effective? You could do that in so many different colours and it would look different, or maybe multiple colours within there, almost like a carnival effect with lots of different colours. 10 dies, 16 stamps again, very generous bundle. It's a very popular one as well. So again, £36.48 if you're wanting those as well. 397894 if you want to know. Now the water brush pens, I was having a little bit of a play with these. Always busy for these ones, and you've been busy again. It's a second set that we've got from Phil. Now I did start playing. I have had a little bit of a colouring in session, and I think it was this size that I was working with, so I'm going to add some more colour when we get to the second part of Phil's demo. But a quarter of the stock has gone of these. I love the look of these because you kind of got a little bit more earthy tones, subdued tones, not too bright, and you can see with these you have got the concentration of colour if you want it to be, but of course you can pull it out. Love the greens that you've got in here. I mean, if you're wanting to be botanically correct with any of your flowers, then you are definitely going to be using those. I love these bluey greys as well, almost like denim tones. As I say, that's just one half of the set. You've got 24 pens in there with regards to your colour, and 2 of your water brush pens, £29.99. I've got a little job to do when we're actually doing the second part of the demonstration from Phil. In fact, I think we might have another little look at those. Do check out, though, we have got additional empty water brush pens if you are wanting those additional ones. I know that they have been popular. But as I said, I'm promising you a second half of that demo. I'm going to hand over to Phil while I have another little play.
And we've now created our own background with a really intricate stamp and the twinkling embossing powder. There we go. I'll put that to one side and we'll start assembling this card. So I've already stuck that, that's the distressed page. It just looks fabulous, doesn't it? So we've got the distressed page there. I've got a frame that I've cut out from the double debossed rounded corner squares. And my foam tape on the back. I don't normally use a lot of foam tape. Oh, I'm laughing to myself now. It must be time for a drink. So I'm just popping that on there. Oh, fabulous. There we go. So I've got that there, and I'm going to bring my flowers in. I just want to show you a different way to shape the romantic flower, because you've got that lovely round petal. I love the dimension you get from that. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I've got one of the flowers already cut in, just in white, because it's easy for you to see. This is obviously one that I've been using for years, but I use it all the time for shaping my flowers. Particularly with the romantic and also with the elegance flower, because you've got the fuller petal. What I like to do is I like to make it even fuller. So I'm going round the outside of each petal, and what I'm doing is I'm bringing that in all the way. Yeah. So you go around the outside and then just bring it in. I'll do it on all 4 sides. So instead of just rolling the ball tool over like we would normally do, I'm going in kind of a little arc shape. And what that does is it keeps it full all the way down to the centre of the flower. I don't think I've ever been this professional when I've been demoing. So can you see now we've gone from that flat flower to all that lovely dimension. I'll just turn that on its side, and it keeps all that plumpness from the petals. I love this one, absolutely love it, and it works so well with the enchanting flower. So let's start assembling this card. I promised I'd be a bit quicker on this one. Let's see if I can be. Probably not, you know me. But you see what I mean about the soft rose embossing powder with the almond hue? Really pretty. Let's just stick this card on. I've already glittered around the edges, as you would expect from me, with the diamond dazzle. Just turn that pointing in. I'm going to repeat on the opposite corner. This is why I love having the flower, the same shape of flower in 10 different, well, 8 different sizes you've got in your sets. Because you could even build, I've kept these as singular flowers, but you could actually build on top of these and do lots and lots of different layers. That's for that side. Oh, it's just so pretty. And here we go, nearly done. You can really go to town with these as well. We could have put a vellum layer underneath because the vellum is back on the show. So we could have had a die cut vellum in white and almond look really nice together, but we could have had one off centered underneath there. So I've just got 2 more little flowers there, but I'm going to pop my leaves in. And as always, I'm using both of them together. So I'm using the leafy fronds. I'm going to snip that actually because I don't need it as long on this card. I'm going to snip that one and put that underneath. So I've got that one facing in this time, and I'll do the opposite on the other side. And again with the sticking my finger in the glue, not sure why, but there you go. Let's go in the way. Pop that there. Come on. And then we'll use the other one. The lush leaves, following the same shape, the same flow. Lovely, lovely. Now I know what you're thinking, because I would normally do this myself. So you see how we've got this bit flicking a little bit loose. Now what I always do is, you know, I have lots of flowers on my cards, so it's not unusual, but I always put my flowers on, put my leaves exactly the way you've just seen me do this, and then I wait till everything's dried, and then I go back in with my PVA glue, and I will shape the leaves, and then I can put the glue wherever I want it, and that's how you can get that lovely dimension. Oh my god, my lamp's gone off. There we go. That's how you can get that lovely dimension, just by, but you do need to wait until all your flowers and that have dried. Put the last one on. I don't know why my mat's going skew here. Here we go. And then we'll just finish off with the sentiment in the middle. So this one here has been done from the classic sentiment coins, and the colour is exactly the same way you've just seen me do the background and do the flower. It's the Victorian Velvet Distress Oxide with the soft rose embossing powder on top. I've got my foam tape underneath already. And I'm just going to pop that straight in the middle. And so because I've put the layer underneath, what it does is it breaks up that background underneath as well, and kind of gives it a gap between the sentiment and the background. It softens it a little bit, and there we go. I'll just bring that a little bit closer, and hopefully you can see some of the detail in that. How gorgeous does that look? Do you see what I mean about the romantic flower, how it keeps that shape on the petals? Beautiful. So thank you very much everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the shows, and hope you've enjoyed the demos. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you online. Bye.
We certainly will do. And I did chuckle to myself. I follow Phil via Twitter, and he's in a bit of a dilemma with his hair at the moment, as we all are, to be honest. I think we're all going to look very different over the next coming weeks as time goes on. But yeah, don't look at my nails either. That's another thing. Now, what have we got for you? Well, we've got a fabulous collection of pens. I promised you to show you those colours. I did play with them, and I did get the other 12 of those colours. They are beautiful colours. I mean, the concentration of colour that you've got in these, that's the thing that struck me. Didn't have to apply a lot of pressure, but got a lot of colour. Lot of colour with these, absolutely beautiful, as you can see there. Love the tones of these as well, because they've got a bright vibrancy, as you can see the colours that we're looking at here. So if you want that intense colour, then you definitely got them in here. But you've got your gradients. You'll see for each one of those colours, you could go for any one of those, and you've kind of got maybe 2 or 3 supportive colours around there, which mean that you are going to get those ombre effects, those realistic looks with these. But then you've got the powder colour, so if you want that real fantasy colour, then you can do as well. So if you're wanting these pens, £29.99, it's the second set that Phil has bought to us. Within this, you're going to get your 24 colour pens, which you can see I've coloured out there. But I've popped that piece of card there. I need to move that out of the way, actually, because you are going to get your little water brush pens with these as well. Me putting the card stop there, I didn't want to detract from those. Very fine detail, as you can see, on one side, and then on the other side, you've got a slightly broader tip with regards to the brushes that you've got in here. Really nice quality, those as well, so do take advantage of them. Of course, they come with a little cap there to protect them, but of course the beautiful thing is just add a bit of water to them, pull those colours out, and you've got a whole myriad of variants of those. You could add the ink to those if you wanted to, but you might want to keep them true to keep within that set, and maybe treat yourself to the additional set and use these ones for adding your colour. Now, within this set, they do all come with caps, but I've taken those caps off so you can have a proper good look at the nibs of these. You've got 3, I've mixed them up a little bit there, so you've got, hold on, that's that one. There you go. You've got 3 rounded nibs, so you can see similar to the brush pens we've just been looking at. And again, you are going to be able to fill these up. They've got a lovely kind of little valve in there, which means that they're not going to get a huge flood of water or ink or whatever you decide to pop in these, to be honest, because it's up to you. You get the 3 rounded ones. You're going to get your flats as well. You're also going to get that very broad flat one there, which is perfect for doing your washes, your backdrops, and it's not one that you can come across very easily. All 6 of those brilliant pens with their caps coming to you for just £16.98. It's been a very popular bundle. 523671 if you are wanting those. Now, during the demonstrations that we've seen from Phil, he was working with obviously the dies, the stamps that we've been talking about, but also those embossing powders. Now these are beautiful because they've got that anti-static quality to them. So set 1 is the set that we've got down at the front. Let me just pop those over so you can have a little look at those. Look at those. How beautiful are those? Now you've got your peridot within this set. You've got your rosé. You've also got your soft azure, and they are beautiful. With these, they are embossing powders that have got the anti-static look to them. This is set number 1, so I'm going to just pop those details up on your screen for you, as you can see there, with those 3 beautiful colour tones. Set 1 is the one that we've got on the screen there, but if you're wanting something a little bit more deeper, darker tones, then shall I show you set number 2? Well, within this one, you have got beautiful purple, that lovely soft lavender, gorgeous cornflower, and then, of course, that beautiful, I forgot what that one's called, was it aqua? Aqua it was, wasn't it? It's gorgeous colour there. Absolutely beautiful, aren't they? These are ones that you are going to collect over time. So it might be that you've already invested in set 1. Might be you just want to get started with set number 2. You don't have to have them in any particular order. But what I would suggest you do is you do add these to your collection and build up your collection of these, because they are designed as colours to work alongside the plain paper and card that Phil brings to us, as well as the pattern papers. That he loves everything to be coordinated. You can see that from the way it looks. It looks good. And that's what he likes to do. Make sure that when you're making your cards, they are looking good too. 307507 for set number 2, and of course set number 1 at the bottom of your screen. Do add the papers in alongside, because as I mentioned, these do work beautifully alongside them. They've got a really pretty look to them, really pretty. You've got polka dots featuring with these, you've got stripes featuring with these, and they just work so well together with regards to these. You're going to get both of these sets as well, 80 sheets in total, and there's loads of ways you can work with these. just loads, and a little really does go a long way. Freedom members, you've got a discounted price with these, and they're just beautiful because, of course, what you can do, you can take inspiration from that colour to enhance your flowers by using a little soft touch of it as an accent. You've got obviously your positives, your negatives, your thin stripes, your wider stripes. They're absolutely beautiful right the way through. Now this shows you here how it might have one of those, you know how sometimes our crafty mojo kind of dissipates, and I know I've seen a lot of this on social media at the moment, a lot of you kind of thinking to yourself, oh, I want to craft but I don't know where to get started. All you need to do really is take a sheet of this paper, pick out whichever colour speaks to you, so perhaps on this occasion this gorgeous that kind of lilac tones, which I think it might have come from one of the other paper pad sets, but you get my inspiration. From there you can pick out an embossing powder that you then use on your flowers, so it'll all start to flow together. Now this one here, I think this is lovely, that lovely teal tone. You can see there, you've got your embossing, your fabulous papers. In fact, you've got embossed detail on there. I think these are the double D embossing dies, aren't they, that Phil brings to us? A whole host of those. But isn't that lovely, using all those different elements coming together? And of course, those stripes have got that almost ombre effect. So with this one, you can see how you've got your deeper tone there coming right the way through to those lovely kind of pastel tones there. Beautiful. All the scraps that you've got left over, you know how sometimes when you work with a card and you mat and lay it and you've got that strip that's left over from your A4 sheet, hang on to them, because of course that's where you are going to be making these adornments, these flowers that you will use over and over again on all of your projects. And here, I love this, you've got obviously the ombre going across the front there, but then you've got your polka dots with a similar sort of ombre effect going on the inside. Very clever. Lovely. £21.98 for your 80 sheets, but not if you're a Freedom member. That price comes down to below £20, just £19.78. Delivered to your door. 658435 if you're wanting to get hold of those. Now, we saw with some of those finished samples there, those double deboss rectangles. These are brilliant because you can use them for your matting and layering. So, of course, you can use them for frames if you're wanting to. Take a wider frame, make a narrower frame. It's entirely up to you, but you have got the details there on your screen for those. You've got beautiful sets there. We've got loads of different sizes, 12 dies in total there, so lots and lots of different combinations with those. £34.99, 23038554. Wow, that hour's gone so quick. We're down now to the last minute of the hour. Now we have got another show featuring Phil's projects coming up a little bit later on, 11 o'clock. So that will be our Yanis's first show with you this morning. We will have a demonstration during that hour. It's going to be different to the one that you've just seen, so I do urge you to tune in and see that one. But of course, beautiful dies, beautiful stamps will be used again throughout there. So if you've already got them in your basket, I would suggest you pop them, or make sure you check out that basket, because then you can sit back at 11 o'clock and take in all that fabulous demonstration that Phil has brought to us. I would like to say good morning to Phil. What time is it? Coming up to 8 o'clock? Oh, we might kind of have one eye open now. But if not, he will be wide awake, I'm sure, at 11 o'clock. You never know, he might even come through and have a chat with Yanis in the studio. Now, we are going to obviously be bringing another hour to you straight after the break, but check out those fabulous stamps, those fabulous dies. We've got 4 different sets for you. You might have seen them all together as a bundle before, but they have now been stripped back into individual pairings. Stamps working alongside their dies. I'm going to be coming up after the break with the one-day special. It's a new time slot for one-day specials, which I'll tell you about in a few moments. But do grab yourself a cuppa, come back and join me, and we will have a fabulous night. It's a beautiful one-day special. I know you are going to love it. And then I will be back with you for another couple of hours after that. I'll see you the other side of this. So looking at architectures, one day special. Lovely Joe Rowe being involved with that particular one day special. Then it is a slot 9 o'clock jewellery box. Looking forward to that one before we have a happy hour of designer fabrics.
Hi, I'm Lou from Studio Light. Studio Light has been around for about 40 years now. They're based in the Netherlands. It's a family-run business with a great heritage. The products that Studio Light bring us are very diverse, fantastic dyes, great papers, but all round on trend. Over the 40 years, Studio Light have evolved They listen to me, the demonstrator, and you, the customers, and really take our ideas on board. On the Hochanda shows, we'll share with you the diverse techniques and products will inspire you to produce your own individual pieces of artwork. So make sure you don't miss the Studio Light shows on Hochanda.
Welcome to Club G45 from Graphic 45. These are monthly tutorial kits that allow you to create beautiful projects by accessing step-by-step instructional videos that are viewable online. You'll get almost everything you need to create both of these projects from scratch. The first kit is Club G45 Birdsong Explosion Box and Origami Envelopes Kit. Simply order yours by purchasing item number 518169 for £49.99 plus your postage from hochanda.com, or give us a call on 01733 60 2000 for instant access to this month's Club G45 from Graphic 45. The second kit is Club G45 Birdsong Centre Step Card Kit. Simply order yours by purchasing item number 554627 for £31.99 plus your postage from hochanda.com, or give us a call on 01733 60 2000 for instant access to this month's Club G45 from Graphic 45.
Hi, this is Els from Elizabeth Craft Designs. Elizabeth Craft Designs is a Colorado-based company. It's a family company, so husband, son, daughter all work in the company, and then a fantastic team of designers, because a company cannot exist without a great team around yourself. What we would like to share with you is my passion for crafts. We love all the concepts we have, so we have from cute till classic and beautiful designs. We love our journaling planner line, and we are going to bring you our ideas, our passion, and we hope to transfer that passion to you. So please join Elizabeth Craft Designs here at Hochanda.
Hi, I'm Pat
And Mark.
from Totally Patched. We're a family-based business here in Shropshire. We've been established for about 20 years.
All of our kits come pre-cut, meaning all the fabric is cut for the